I stepped out of the Shenzhen airport terminal into the humid March air of 2026, suitcase in one hand, skepticism in the other. For 20 years, I had chased the holy grail of automotive engineering, a car that could deliver supercar comfort, electric silence, and the effortless range of a diesel truck without forcing me to choose between misery and mediocrity. Every hybrid I had ever driven, the Prius that droned like a dying vacuum cleaner, the Camry that rode like a shopping cart on cobblestones, had extracted the same soul-crushing tax. Efficiency demanded sacrifice, range demanded boredom, luxury demanded a second mortgage. Then BYD sent me an invitation I could not ignore. Come drive the Seal 07 DMI. We have broken physics. The car waited under floodlights like a predator from the future. 5 meters of sleek, ocean-inspired sheet metal, low roofline, razor-sharp LED eyes. No shouting badges, no desperate chrome. Just quiet confidence. I slid into the driver's seat and the world changed. Nappa leather embraced me like a custom-tailored suit. Quilted, perforated, heated, ventilated, and equipped with a 10-point massage system that actually knew where my lower back ached after the long flight. The 15.6-inch rotating screen glowed to life with the smoothness of a flagship tablet. Physical crystal gear selector, tactile buttons for drive modes. BYD understood that in a true luxury car, fingers still crave feedback. Double-glazed acoustic glass and active noise cancellation wrapped the cabin in cathedral silence. I pressed the start button. Nothing. No starter whine, no vibration, just readiness. So, I set the navigation for what honestly felt like a ridiculous test. Beijing to Shanghai via the Coastal Expressway that's roughly 1,200 kilometers of mixed highway, city, and mountain roads. And well, I told myself I'd only refuel if the car absolutely forced me. The trip computer just calmly displayed 2,000 kilometers of remaining range. I actually laughed out loud. 2,000 kilometers on one tank and one charge. The hybrid paradox, that kind of depressing compromise that's haunted the industry since the very first Prius rolled off the line, was about to die in real time. I eased onto the highway. The electric motors delivered torque instantly, silently. It was like being pushed forward by an invisible hand. The 1.5-liter petrol engine, officially called the Xiaoyun 5th generation unit, just stayed asleep. Its only job, at least for now, was to wait. When the battery eventually needed topping up, it would wake up at its happiest RPM, spinning like a precision generator rather than, a tortured piston engine. This, right here, was the genius of DMI 5.0. Unlike those old-school hybrids where the engine and wheels were mechanically locked in this awkward dance, the Seal 07 treated the petrol unit as a range extender power station. The Blade battery, that structural LFP masterpiece BYD invented, stored energy like a fortress. The EHS electric hybrid system, with 92% efficiency, fed every electron exactly where it was needed. No multi-speed gearbox, no torque converter losses, no clutch slip. Just seamless, relentless acceleration that made my spine press into the seat. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in under 7 seconds when I wanted it, yet sipping fuel at a rate that just, honestly, defied thermodynamics. At the 2-hour mark, I decided to dive into the science, so I pulled into a rest area, opened the owner's manual on the screen, and read the numbers again. 46.06% thermal efficiency. Let that sink in for a moment. For a century, the best mass-produced petrol engines struggled to convert 30% of the fuel's energy into motion. The rest just vanished as heat, noise, and vibration. Formula One engines barely touched 50% under perfect laboratory conditions. BYD had taken a 1.5-liter four-cylinder raised compression to a shocking 16-to-1 and tamed the inevitable detonation with an ultra-efficient Atkinson cycle. Longer expansion stroke, more work extracted from every explosion. Cooled exhaust gas recirculation dropped combustion temperatures just enough to prevent knocking while keeping the thermodynamic cycle hot. Intake ports engineered for perfect tumble and swirl mixed air and fuel at a molecular level so precise that unburned hydrocarbons were almost zero. The result? 2.9 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers in real-world mixed driving. A luxury saloon that drank less than most motorcycles. I merged back into traffic and let the AI energy management system take over. The car knew every hill, every traffic light, every weather condition ahead thanks to cloud-connected maps and real-time sensor fusion. On long straights, the engine would wake gently, charge the battery at its peak efficiency RPM, then fall silent again. The transition was honestly invisible. One moment pure electric serenity, the next a faint, distant hum that never reached the cabin. I watched the fuel gauge refuse to move for hour after hour. 6 hours in, I had covered 550 kilometers and used less than a quarter tank. The blade battery still showed 40% charge. Physics textbooks were screaming somewhere. Then came the mountains outside Xiamen. Chinese expressways are not gentle. They rise and fall like dragon spines. I braced for the wallow I knew from every other heavy hybrid. Instead, the Defied system performed sorcery. Defied, BYD's intelligent body control, uses solenoid valves inside each damper controlled by a dedicated computer reading accelerometers and wheel sensors thousands of times per second. When the front right wheel dropped into a pothole, the valve opened instantly, softening the damping for a microsecond to swallow the impact, then snapped firm to prevent body pitch. The skyhook effect was real. The car's body floated level while the wheels did all the dancing. I attacked corners at speeds that should have rolled a 1.8-ton saloon onto its door handles. Instead, it stayed flat, planted, arrogant. I have driven Mercedes S-classes that cost 3 times more, and they did not ride this well. The magic carpet was not marketing hyperbole. It was engineering poetry. Night fell as I crossed into Zhejiang province. I flicked on the Pilot 300 system, BYD's God's Eye. A subtle LiDAR pod on the roof glowed faintly. 5mm wave radars, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and multiple cameras fed data to the NVIDIA Orin X chip. The car took over. It changed lanes on the motorway with surgical precision, yielded to merging trucks, navigated construction zones, and gently braked for pedestrians who wandered too close to the edge of the road. In total darkness, the LiDAR painted a perfect 3-dimensional map of the world ahead, seeing through fog and glare where cameras alone would fail. This was not a gimmick reserved for million-dollar EVs. This was a hybrid saloon doing level 2 plus autonomy better than many pure electrics from legacy brands. I leaned back, massaging seats working my shoulders, and let the car drive itself for 200 kilometers while I sipped tea from the center console cup holder. The future felt strangely calm. By dawn, I was approaching Shanghai. The trip computer read 1,187 kilometers covered, 87% fuel remaining, and 210 kilometers of pure electric range still in reserve. I had not stopped for petrol once. The total energy used would have barely moved the needle on a conventional luxury sedan. I pulled into a hotel forecourt, killed the ignition, and sat in silence for a long minute. The cabin was so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. Later that morning, over coffee with a BYD engineer, the final pieces clicked. "We didn't just improve the hybrid," he said. "We made the petrol engine a servant, not the master. The blade battery gives structure and safety. The DMI architecture gives efficiency without compromise. Defied gives ride quality once reserved for millionaires. God's Eye gives intelligence once reserved for concept cars. And we sell it for the price of a well-equipped European hatchback." He was not boasting. The numbers backed him up. As I flew home, I replayed the journey in my mind. The old narrative. Efficiency equals misery. Range equals compromise. Luxury equals weight penalty. Lay in pieces on the floor of that Shenzhen showroom. Toyota had owned the hybrid crown for decades because no one else dared to invest in the vertical integration BYD mastered batteries, motors, chips, suspension actuators, all under one roof. Legacy manufacturers had spent years telling us hybrids were a bridge technology, a temporary apology until pure EVs matured. BYD had quietly built the bridge, paved it with Nappa leather, equipped it with LiDAR, and then driven a 2,000-kilometer range car across it at highway speeds while sipping fuel like a scooter. Gasoline is not dead. It has simply been demoted from dictator to loyal advisor. And in that demotion lies the greatest revolution of all. The Seal 07 DMI does not ask you to choose between saving the planet and enjoying the drive. It gives you both, wrapped in luxury that makes German flagships feel outdated. For the first time in my career, I drove a car that did not force a single compromise. It simply delivered more than physics had any right to allow. 2,000 kilometers, one tank, zero apologies. The hybrid paradox is dead. Long live the new king.